So in understanding this, we heard from them that we needed to have a message that spoke to true sports. And to these true sportsmen, they were telling us that to them it's about the activity, but to everything else around this, sports has been sort of distracted by technology, by media, by fashion, by celebrities. From Little League up to the highest levels, sports had become more of a business. So we felt the need to set out and create a different message. A message that gave us a credible role in enhancing the performance for everyday sports people. But we wanted to do it in a way that was slightly different from other brands. One that wasn't overly sort of technically challenged or scientific. One that wasn't focused solely on winning by itself. And one that really didn't come across as sort of harsh and cold. Instead, we created a message and a set of messages built around these true sportsmen and their desire and their need to constantly improve what they're doing, to test themselves. And to this group and the message, it was about improving and beating your own goals, regardless of what those goals actually turned out to be. And to this group, sports in its true sense is both a physical and emotional connection that they could feel, understand, and truly appreciate within themselves. And time again, through qualitative research, surveys, secondary research, we saw the same trend across different languages, across different nations, across different cultures. To this group, to this core true sportsman, sports was about having fun, getting rid of all the stress and the thoughts that preoccupy the rest of their day. It was about the moment of playing sports and making the most out of that moment. And these were the points that we were being told our message needed to embrace and truly speak to. So phase one we set the stage with it. We honed the conversation we needed to have with these true sportsmen. So now I'm going to turn the mic over to Eric Hogue with Millward Brown to discuss how we validated and optimized the set of messages that came from this exercise.
So as Neil was talking about, after stage one, Neil and Ann engaged my team to provide research design guidance on a study to test and optimize a series of positioning concepts honed by the stage one research program. In meeting with the brand team at Coke, I was impressed that they had really taken the learning from stage one to heart, and with some seasoned copywriters had crafted a series of compelling concepts reflecting a divergence of different white space territories the brand thought it could play in. The brand had painstakingly worked on the concepts to get them right before testing among consumers. Additionally, they worked on a series of different statements that could plug and play with each of the concepts that we were able to test within the concepts. We call these statements alternative benefits. Remember that, there will be a test on this afterward. We took the need for flexibility to heart, designing an approach that enabled us to examine each concept through multiple lenses, including first, looking at the concept overall, monadically. Does it have purchase potential? Is it unique? Is it something that's going to fit with the brand? Additionally, we looked at how does it impact perceptions of the brand? As well, personality of the brand. Does it change the material personality of the brand in the different countries where we tested each of these concepts? Lastly, we did a trade-off exercise where we brought in these alternative benefits and traded them out to understand their purchase potential in driving each of the concepts to a higher place volumetrically. Brands we work with all want their positioning to be the rally cry in the marketplace that changes business performance or changes jumpstarts their business performance. In the case of Powerade, for a positioning to be embraced on a global basis, it needed to do more than engage and change perceptions of true sportsmen. It also needed to demonstrate an ability to drive incremental volume. So we crafted an approach using our background in volume forecasting to assess incremental volume for each positioning before, during, and after sports activity. We collected the data not only for Powerade, but also for other categories of beverages, including bottled water, other sports drinks, tap water, or any other beverage that true sportsmen were consuming during their sports activities. What you see here are the results from the trade-off exercise, where we assess the potential of a number of alternative benefits for driving incremental purchase interest of the brand. Knowing that they may want to deliver on multiple benefits, the approach allowed for us to trade out the utility of Concept's current benefit that was in the monadic exercise that we just described, but also being able to layer on incremental multiple alternatives that they could consider. As you can see, in this case, we were able to uncover tangible upside to the concept by replacing the control benefit tested with a series of alternative benefits. Here you see the money chart, where we were able to demonstrate how the use of alternative benefits drives incremental milliliters of volume. So while removing the control benefit, we lost 591 milliliters. We were able to more than make up for that by bringing in a combination of the test benefits that we had considered. This does two things for us. First is it enabled us to optimize the concept, so take a promising concept to a better place in driving more incremental volume. Additionally, though, it provided us with longer range insight as far as some different directions that the brand might want to take itself in the future. So elevating our learning to key insights, we established that performing at your best is a globally resonant theme. And while no one concept performed universally best, we learned a great deal about how to speak to true sportsmen around the globe in a meaningful way. We learned that refueling and hydration are critical not only as a means to quench your thirst, but also so that you can perform better longer. Because consuming beverages is not just after the sports activity, but is during the activity as well. Also, the stronger concepts are inclusive, not elitist. True sportsmen don't aspire to be super athletes, but do want to play at their best and maintain peak performance. In the end, it is not about winning at all costs, but rather performing at your best. Bringing it all together, there is a strong emotional quotient in the joy of the game, the joy of the experience, as well as being able to perform at your very best. Now, I'm going to hand it back to Ann, who's going to talk about how we implemented this program at Coca-Cola.
So after going through all this, we now had the pieces to fill out the rest of our construct of our brand house. We'd already talked about the consumer target. We already knew what our goal was. Now we had the category insights. We understood where we were relative to competition and how we could improve relative to that. We understood the market. We had the detailed learning by country so we could understand even more what was similar and what was different in terms of these aspirations for sports. So now we could create this brand roof, this global brand vision, which was very much of an interactive process between us, between Millward Brown, between the marketing teams, between the markets when we shared the results with them. But through that, we were able to align on a vision for the brand that everybody's agreed to, everybody is working toward. We know it has strong business potential in many different ways, not only from the testing, but just from a consistency and scale standpoint. So we're very excited that we were able to achieve that, but do it in such a way that if I'm in Australia and I'm interested in rugby, I can still include rugby, within the message. I can still include the local, appealing athletes versus in US where it may be, more football or baseball oriented. So there is a localization aspect, but the overall message is global. So after going through all this and aligning the markets, we took a step back to see, okay, what have we learned through this 2-year process? And a couple of things that really came through, as much as we focused on the science and the learning and the incremental gain, it was really that interpretation, the art of understanding the details, the diagnostics, that really helped bring this together. Being able to get to the detail of the language of how each of these sportsmen talked about their sports in their country again, gave us the direction of how to best articulate this. So definitely a balance of art and science. It was also something where the research did not write the positioning for us. We were not able to say this positioning one, here, go take it. It was very much of a taking the learning, knowing what we think the brand stands for. What is Powerade, what it is, and what it's not. And using that in conjunction with the learnings to say, this is where we want to take the brands. And last but not least, this is not something that the Knowledge and Insights group at Coca-Cola could do by itself. It was very much involved our partners, our marketing, our R&D guys who helped us, kind of define what are these potential benefits we could put into the research. Our sensory and regulatory affairs, kind of the legal people who were telling us, yes, you can say this in Mexico, no, you can't say this in Mexico. So very much of a team effort. Even our finance people helping us with the goals. But what's the beauty of that is because we had them involved from the start, now that we have the results, the direction, the alignment, they can take this and use it, they understand it, they own it. So now as they're adapting their plans, their executions, they can use this information to execute in market. And my last thing I'll say is keep your eyes open because you'll be seeing some new stuff very soon. So we're very excited about that.